Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Code with Deepa. So today is day 54 of solving daily problems on LeetCode. Now let us see what today's problem is. So the problem is open the log, which is a medium level problem. Now let us first read this problem and try to understand it. Now given in this problem that you have a log in front of you, okay, and we have four circular wheels. Now what is given in this question is that we have a log in front of us which is having four circular wheels. Each wheel has 10 slots, like each wheel can become either 0, 1, 2 to 9. Wheels can rotate freely. We can rotate freely, like we can rotate in forward as well as backward direction to any wheel. We can rotate them and we can turn 9 to be 0 or 0 to be 9. Each move consists of turning one wheel and one slot. At a time, you can just turn only one wheel. Okay. And initially, it says that the number of initially at starting, your lock will be 0, 0, 0, 0, and gradually what you will do, you will move the wheels, you will rotate them, and you have to get the target wheel, otherwise you have to return -1. And there are some dead ends also given, that if you reach that state like 0201 or 0101, in that case you can't move the wheel ahead, and in that case you have to return -1. Okay, the wheel will get locked, as mentioned here, that if you get any of the dead ends code, then the wheel will get blocked, or you can say lock, and we will stop traveling ahead. Now in given example, it is given that dead ends, there are five dead ends given to us, and initially my lock will be 000. Now in first step, what I have done is I have incremented the first value. In second step, what I have done is I have incremented here the second value to 1. In third step, I have again incremented the second value to 2. In fourth step, I have the third value was same, and I have changed the fourth value, which become 1201. And in the second last step, what we have done is we have incremented the last value 1 to be equals to 2, and rest is same. And at last step, what we have done, we have decremented the first value to 0. So now in this, what we will do, we will use BFS to solve this problem. And what we have to do is, like, we have to consider all possible outcomes for a given string. Like if the given string is 00 and I'm working on this first string, so for this first string there will be either two possible outcomes. Okay, for this first string, either I can increment the value and it will become 1, 0, 0. Otherwise, I can decrement the value, which will make it 9. And after making it 9, it will become 9,000. Okay. Now, this is only for the first value. Now, for the second value, same. Either I can increment it, it will become 1000 for the second value. And if we decrement, it will become 9,000. Okay. Similarly, for every value, what we can do, whichever value. So there will be possible 6 values. Okay. Okay, which will be different only. Like if I change the value for the second place, so it will become 0, 1, 0, 0. And similarly for the second place, if I change it to 9, if I decrease it to 9, then it will become 0, 9, 0, 0. So at every step, I will maintain a variable which will be my count variable in my queue only, which will keep the count of number of steps we have traveled. And second will be my other variable, which will be storing the current string. Okay, what we are doing, we are either incrementing the current index or we are decrementing, so which will get stored in my second part only. So from here also we have many options, like either what we can do, we can make the first string again equals to 0. In that case it will become what we have taken initially. So we will also here declare a visited array in order to keep a track of all the nodes which we have visited. Okay, so this will be stored in my visited array, that if I traveled the particular string before, then we need not to travel. Okay, because this is not equals to target, that's why we have not stopped and we are trying to find the target log. So my second step would be either I can increase my the first value, which will become 2000, and if it is not present in my visited, then only I will add it into my queue. My other step would be that I increment the second value and I the first value remains the same. Now the third value will be that we again increment the second value and so on. These steps will keep on, like we will keep on changing in this given string, and we will check in every step that if we get the target value then we have to stop, and otherwise if we have checked all the possible string combinations and if we reach any of the dead ends in this question, then in that case you have to return -1, that for the given uh, string from given string 000 we can't reach that target and it is not possible. So for this question what we will do, first we will create a unordered set here. Okay, this set will be storing my dead ends, which will be of initially string type. It will be of string type and it will be storing my dead ends. Okay, now let me give it a name as dead. Now let me add all the dead ends from begin to end in it. Okay, begin comma deadends dot end. I've inserted all the dead ends into my unordered set. Then my second will be I will declare a queue, and this queue will store a pair type value where first pair will be my string and second pair will be of integer type, which will be storing my count. Let me give it a name as queue. Next step will be to create another unordered set of string type, and it will store my visited nodes, or I can say the visited strings which I have already visited. Now what we will do, we will check if my dead initially contains, if dead dot find, what we will check here that if dead already contain the initial string which is 0000, in that case we need not to push it, otherwise we will push it into my visited array or my queue. I will insert it. Okay, if dead dot find 000 is equals to dead dot end, which means that it is not present, then in that case you have to push it into my queue and it will, the value will be 000, and for this my count will be 0. And next step will be to push it into my visited array also, because we have already seen that element, this string. Okay, so for set we use insert function, and if it would be a vector then we use pushback, and for queue and stack we use push function. Okay, so after that what we will do, we will run a while loop like we do in BFS traversal, that if my queue is not empty, then in that case my first step will be to take the front value from my queue, which will be of string comma integer type, which will be, and let me take the current value. Okay, so current will be storing my front value from the queue, and my current dot second will store the count. Okay, second step would be to pop the value because we have taken the value, and now we will check for the current value if it is equals to my target. So let me just first take two variables, which will be string s, which will be equals to current dot first. Now second step would be to take the count in another variable which will be of integer type, and let's say int count, which will be current dot second. Okay, now we have taken s and count. Now we will compare as if s equals to target. If the current string is equals to target, then return the count of current string, current, or we can directly return from here, return count. Okay. Now if it is not equals to string, then we will run a for loop from int I equals to 0 such that I less than, and we will run a for loop from I equals to 0 to I equals to 4, as the length of my string always remain 4 and it will never exceed 4. So it will be I less than 4. It will be a constant loop, and every time we will increment the value, we will say I plus plus. Now inside this loop, what we will do, we will change the value like we were doing, that we were updating the current value, and either we were updating the current value like here what we were doing, that either we have updated the 0 to 1, we have incremented it, and the second step was either to decrement it. Okay, so decrement, if we want to decrement, so what we will do, if it is -1, then in that case I have to add here 10, so it will become equals to 9. For 0, what we will do, so now let us check here. First we will declare two variables, which will be of string type temp1 and temp2, which will be storing my current strings. Okay, so temp1 will be equals to s dot sub str, and the sub str means it will take the sub string from my given string, and what we will do, first we will change the string to string, which means that we are modifying in a string, we are incrementing a number which is not possible in a string. That's why we will first change it into a number, and then we will again modify it into a string, because we have to store it as a string. So what we will do, to modify it into a number, I will subtract it from string 0, and then my first step will be to add 1, and if the number is greater than 10, then in that case we have to modulo it by 10 to get the remainder here. Now okay, so we have done this part. Now next will be to add the remaining string to it. Okay, so sub str I plus 1. Okay, similarly I will create a second string temp2. Okay, this will be temp2. The minor change what we will do is, here we are incrementing, and in the second string what we will do, we will decrement the value. We will decrement the current value to -1, and in this case we will add plus 10 if it becomes negative. Okay, so similarly, now what we will do, we will check if these two strings are present in my dead, then I need not to add it into dead, otherwise I need to insert it into my queue. So dead dot find temp1 is equals to my dead dot end. Now second condition will be to check it into my visited array. If visited dot find temp1 is equals to visited dot end, in that case also that it is not present in both the arrays, so I will push the value in my queue. So queue dot push, we will push temp1, and comma, we will increment our count to 1, that we have performed one operation, that either we have incremented it or decremented it. Okay, so as it will take the value in pair, so let me add it into curly braces here. Okay, now next step will be to add it into my visited array. Also visited dot insert temp1, and same steps we will follow for temp2 also. So let me just copy it and paste it here. Now, and we will change it to temp2. Okay, now we have inserted the temp2 also. Now next value, next what we will do is, at last if it is not possible to get the target string, then in that case we will return -1. Okay, so in this code what we have done is, first we have created an unordered set in order to store all the dead ends, and if it is present in dead end, then I cannot find the solution. Okay, So then we have created a queue which is storing my strings, which I am modifying at every step. Then an unordered set which will store whether we have visited the current string or not. That will check that if it has initially zeros, then it need not to push to 0 0 0 0. Okay, so otherwise it will push. Then we will check whether while my queue is not empty, I will take the current node from my queue. I will check it. If it is equals to target, then I will return the count. Otherwise, I will again perform operations on it. Then I will insert it into my queue if it is not present previously. Okay, so now let us try to run this code. It says error. Okay, here also we will need to add the curly braces because this also it is a pair. So let me add the curly braces. Now let us run this. Here it says that operation to string, okay, binary basic char. It is unable to convert it. Now let us check that if we are missing some parentheses here. We have declared temp1 which is equals to s dot sub str 0 comma I, and then we are adding the rest of the part to it. And what we are doing is we are converting to string. Then we are missing one bracket here which will be closing after I, and same goes for here also. Here also we are missing one bracket. Okay, so now let us try to run this code again. Okay, just producing here undeclared identifier temp1. Okay, we are declaring the two variables inside my for loop, and here my for loop is getting closed. So these two conditions are inside my for loop only. Okay, so now my for loop will be closed here, and I hope it will not produce any error now. Oh, it is accepted. Now let's just submit this to test for other test cases also. It is accepted and we have solved today's problem of the day. I hope this video solution was clear to you. If you have any doubt, please leave it in the comment section. Like this video, comment on it, subscribe to my channel, press the bell icon to get daily notification about the videos I'm posting here. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.